Okay. Hello, everyone, on this lovely Tuesday late afternoon. Welcome to the Duke Admissions live Google Plus video chat. We're going to be talking about athletics and sports and the school spirit culture of Duke around athletics. I'm Jake. I'm a senior. I'm studying English and cultural anthropology. My connection to sports is mainly through, like everyone on this thing, basketball. So I'm a big basketball fan. I started a blog between freshman and sophomore years called crazytalk.com that has to do with basketball, supporting the basketball team from a student perspective. And it's been a really great project that I've worked on with several other of my friends here, resulting in some pretty cool stuff like I was able to our blog was featured on ESPN2 one day, and we've built like a big fan base on social media and things like that. So that's my thing. I like to write about the team, and obviously I'm a big fan as well. So that's me.
Great, and hey everyone, I'm Ellie Garrett, and I am a senior from Washington, D.C., and I'm a religion major. And my connection to athletics is that I was the head line monitor this year, which means that I was in charge of the student section for undergraduates for Duke basketball, and I was in charge of tenting in that whole exciting process.
Hi everyone, my name is Derek Rhodes. I am from Durham, North Carolina. I'm a public policy major with a minor in English. I'm a freshman here at Duke, and my connection to Duke athletics, I'm one of the managers for the men's basketball team. So I'm responsible for coordinating all travel and related to that.
So I'm not seeing any questions. Are you guys seeing questions?
So if anyone has any questions, you can ask them as comments on the Google Plus Hangout, and we'll be answering them until about 7:30.
I see one. Ingrid Watts commented on a question on the Duke Admissions page asking about how do you get into a basketball game. So Ellie, do you want to take that?
Sure, I can take that question. So one thing that's cool about Duke is that basketball tickets are first come, first serve. So there's no lottery system. All you really have to do is wait in line. And so as soon as you get out there, line monitors will register your name in line and will let you in about an hour and a half before tip-off. So it's a fairly straightforward process. For the Carolina game, you'll be sleeping in tents for a certain number of weeks, depending on the year. But for all the other games, you'll just wait in line during the day or maybe sleep out if it's a bigger game.
Sure. And yeah, that's how. Yeah, I've done the tenting thing 2 years out of my 4th year. My first year, I was in tent 4, which is a pretty high number. It's like so you have to whoever starts the soonest. I don't know. Again, Ellie, you might be able to talk more about like the rules and stuff. But it's a really good experience to tent. It's something a lot of freshmen do for sure. It's something sort of like a experience that freshmen share where they are really excited about being at Duke, really excited for their first basketball season. And obviously we've had a lot of success since I've been here in general, so it's really exciting when you're with all your friends and you get excited for months about the Carolina game, and you're going to the games, and hopefully the result is good. This year it wasn't so good, but it's still a really good like group building experience to be tenting and and have that experience with a lot of your classmates. So definitely something I suggest to everyone to do.
Great. And then Sarah asked, I am on the dance team at my high school and would love to hear more about dance team at Duke. So at Duke, there's a bunch of different options for dancing. There's a lot of different student groups that do different types of dance, such as jazz, ballet, modern dance, hip-hop, etc. There's a dance team called the Dancing Devils, and they'll perform at a lot of different football games, basketball games, different sporting events. A lot of times they travel with the basketball team as well for some of the bigger games.
Nice. Derek, do you have anything to say about these other questions? Are you seeing these questions?
I am. Next question is from Tyler Fredericks. How many seats are granted to students per game? Well, I believe all students are admitted. There's no requirement or no set number that one student can attend. So as long as you're willing to wait in line or to camp out for a ticket, you're almost guaranteed a spot in the student section during games.
Yeah, so we actually have 1,200 seats for students at basketball games. And for the Carolina game, we have 1,200 seats, but we'll generally fit in a few more hundred after that. So we really try to squeeze in as many students as possible, because the more packed it is, the more fun it is.
And louder. I see one from Andrew Eaton. Did any of you guys do the camp out for the Duke UNC game? How was it? I'll address that one first, and we'll get to the other one. I've camped out. I guess Ellie and Derek are in more official roles, so I don't know if you guys have camped out, but I did pretty serious. I said earlier I did pretty seriously my freshman year in top 10 in tent 4 with 11 other people, and it was good. Depending on when the Carolina game is in the season, tenting lasts for different amounts of time. So if the game is in March, that's the second game. Tenting is typically longer, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But when I was a freshman, the rules were that the game was in February, so it was about a month, 5 weeks or so of serious camping out. And it's definitely like a trying experience because you're trying to manage your academic and social life as well. But it becomes sort of like a really good group experience where you usually tent with your closest friends in your dorm or other people, and depending on your level of seriousness, you're in the top 10 tents, or maybe you come in late and you're in the top 50 tents or something. But either way, it's a lot of people in a small space, so everyone's always ready to have fun, and they're all excited about the game. So it's definitely a worthwhile experience, at least to do once while you're here. Preferably as a freshman when you don't have so many commitments outside of tenting.
So I didn't tent. Obviously, I had to practice for the game, be at practice for the games and things like that. But I did go and hang out with friends. So I think it's also something that is truly a part of the community here. So if you don't want to tent, particularly your first year here, you're still not excluded from all the activities that go on in Kville. There's a concert a night or two before the games, before the Duke UNC game. So you're more than welcome to go to that. So even if you aren't interested in tenting, you can still go hang out with friends and just still kind of get in some of the experience.
And Andrew also asked about intramural basketball. There's a really big intramural program for all sports at Duke. Basketball is one of the most popular because a lot of people love basketball at Duke and they love to play it as well. I've played several years, and it's definitely really fun. I've played in the intermediate range, so there's a beginners, an intermediate, and a competitive. The competitive league is very, very competitive, so it's really good. It's really fun, and definitely something that, again, something that you do with your friends, or if you're in a fraternity or something, you do with your organizations, and there's lots of games. It's lots of fun. It's always in the spring, and yeah, and the championship games are played in Cameron, so if you get to that, if you get through and you have a good season with your team, you get to play your championship game in Cameron, which is always a really cool thing because all the other games are held in the Wilson Recreation Center, which is the gym where all students work out and play basketball and whatnot. So.
All right, and Carlton Burrell, you said, what do you think is unique amongst about the spirit amongst students at Duke. And I would say one thing that's really cool about Duke is that not only do we have excellent academics and extracurricular opportunities, but students really love Duke and they're passionate about it. And this extends from sports as well. I think this goes into every area of life. But athletics are a major part of Duke that students really rally around and have a lot of pride in.
I definitely agree with that. Okay. Julie Bitar asks about intramural swimming. I have no idea. Does anyone have an idea of that?
Yeah. We actually don't have an intramural swimming team, but there is a club swimming team. And that can kind of be as intense as you want it to be. You can go to all the practices and all of the meets, or you can go just like one practice a week, one practice a month. So it kind of depends on how much commitment you want it to be.
So Nicole.
All right, so Nicole
Rice Clill asked, so I have a totally different sports question. I heard Duke has a Quidditch team. Can you tell me more about it? I'm not too sure about like the practice schedule of Quidditch team, but it is a growing sport here, or activity that a lot of people take part in. I know that as I walk to class sometimes or walk through the quad that you'll see the Quidditch team practicing, and it's just really cool because it's something that started like from students who wanted to learn how to play Quidditch and to play Quidditch competitively. So I think it's really awesome how they're able to start that group and are able to take advantage of all the other facilities that other teams get. But maybe someone can tell you more about sort of like the practice and how they compete.
Yeah, I am not on the Quidditch team, but I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and have a lot of friends who are on it, and it's actually really cool because they go to the World Cup every year in New York City, and you'll see them running around the quad. First, they'll have a snitch, someone who dresses up in yellow, and is on the track team or cross-country team. So it is a really cool thing that is very present on campus.
And I think that's like sort of indicative, like that you can always start anything you want here. So like Quidditch, like there's really, I have no idea how many club sports there are. There are so many. There's like a whole list on the back of all the shirts that's like really long. So it's always very easy if you have an interest in something like, you know, obviously Quidditch is kind of a recent phenomenon since it's fictional and all, but it's still like, you know, Duke always is supportive of students wanting to form groups and form teams and everything. So it's always really easy if you have like a passion for something to just do it. So let's talk about Jocelyn Vargas. What are the options for people interested in continuing track and field? Anyone know anything about that?
So for track and field, I actually have a few friends who have walked on to the track team, so I know that is a possibility when you come to Duke. There's also a club called Roadrunners, and they run together every day at like 4 or 4:30, and some people get very involved in that. And if you are more serious about it, you can also join a club running team, and they race in a lot of competitions all around the U.S. and go on lots of weekend trips as well. Okay, so Tiana Horn asked, how much do basketball game tickets cost students? And the cool thing about that is that they're completely free and first come, first serve. So unlike other universities with great basketball teams where the students have to pay a ton of money, they're completely free here.
And also, you know, it's like a meritocracy, like Ellie said. It's about however much you want to be involved in being a basketball fan. It's what you get out of it. So, you know, obviously it's always free, but, you know, if you're really excited about a game, you go get in line first, you're going to have the best seats in the house, literally the best seats in the house, because Duke is always in Cameron. If you guys watch the games, you'll see that the students are right on the court. They have the best seats. And, you know, Duke, Coach K has always said he will never let anything like that change, that, you know, they'll start selling seats to the bigwigs and the donors to have where the students sit, because the students make Cameron what it is. Anyone would say that. So it's always like, however much you want to put into it is what you'll get out of it, and that's what's good about Cameron, I would say.
Okay, so Jesse asked if you can play 2 club sports at once at Duke, because he wanted to look into playing baseball and doing cycling as well. And yes, I think you can definitely play 2 club sports. A big part about college that you'll realize is that you have a ton of free time, much more than you had in high school. I know that our club baseball team is pretty good, and they have practice every week, and the cycling team actually does a lot as well. They're always riding around campus, and they actually hosted a race on 9th Street this year, which is pretty cool. So it definitely is possible to play both. It just kind of depends on what you want to spend the majority of your time doing.
And also, it's always great to get involved and to sign up for as many things as you are interested in. I know within the first 2 weeks here, there was a huge club fair right on the Quad of East Campus, where all 400 clubs that are student-led and are on campus inform you about their club and how to get involved in what they do. And you can sign up, and they'll send you emails updating you on practices for, in particular, like IM and club sports. But also, if you go to a practice and you may think IM is too much, you can always drop down to club. So you can definitely get a feel for things before you fully commit yourself, and if you feel that you're overexerting yourself in particular. So we have a question that says, how have you been involved with athletics in your time at Duke? So for me, I mentioned this briefly earlier. I'm one of the managers for the Duke men's basketball team. There are 10 managers, and you have to apply and interview for the position. And that position, for me, means that I am attending every practice for the men's basketball team. I am at every game. And so I'm responsible largely for doing anything from filming to taking stats to setting up to cleaning up to packing the bus when we travel, getting food for after games or after a practice, making Gatorade, really anything that needs to be done. That's sort of my main role here within the athletics department at Duke.
Yeah.
And for me, I was the headline monitor this year, which means that I was in charge of the student section for undergraduates at Duke. So I was in charge of the whole tenting process and letting students into basketball games. And I tented freshman year as well, so I've had experience with that. I also did a lot of intramural sports my freshman year, so if you have any questions about that, just send them our way.
Sure, and like I said earlier, I play sports. I play basketball. I have played basketball my whole life, and I've done that a lot of pickup here. There's always a really good game at Wilson Gym, which is right next to Cameron over here, and so that's something I've done. And like I said earlier, I like to write about sports. I started a basketball blog, so that's one of my main things. And there's endless opportunities to become involved in sports in any kind of way. If you want to write about sports, there's the Chronicle, the paper, and the sports section is an important part of the paper for sure, and a lot of really smart people there. And then there's, if you want to go to the opposite, complete commitment, I would do what Derek does, which is really hard. But if you really want to be part of the basketball program, that's the closest you can get being a manager, as I'm sure Derek would say, but it's a huge commitment. So there's lots of ways to get involved with athletics for sure.
All right, so we've had a few questions about tenting and how exactly that works, so I can speak a little to that. So tenting will begin probably sometime in late January once students get back from winter break. And how it works is you'll get in a tent with 11 of your friends, so 12 total people. And once tenting starts, if you start like the first week, it'll be the hardest. So you'll need like 12 out of 12 people in your tent, for example, every night. And then once blue tenting begins, which is kind of the second hardest, you'll just need 6 out of 12 people in a tent every night. And then as you get closer to the game, you'll only need 2 people every night. So most likely you won't be sleeping in the tent every night. But when you all are sleeping in the tent, it's really cool because you can play games, you can just really get to know your friends better and form a really cool community with your freshman dorm or whoever you're tenting with. And during tenting, the way we kind of make sure that everybody's staying in their tent and not cutting in line is that there's line checks in the middle of the night. So students will have to present their Duke card to make sure that nobody's kind of cheating the system. So it's a really cool thing that Duke does that really is unique to this school and nowhere else in the country. Like nowhere else do they sleep out for 6 weeks for one basketball game. And it really is worth it. The Carolina game is absolutely unreal. Even though it didn't turn out so well for us this year, I think Derek and Jake would both agree that the atmosphere was incredible. It was so loud you can't hear for days after the game.
For sure.
So yeah, like Ellie said, definitely, although I didn't tent, I can attest to the fact that one thing about people who tent or who wait in line here is that they truly love Duke basketball and that they really care about the game, whether we win or whether we lose. They're really giving their all throughout the entire game. And that's one of the things that I appreciate, especially being a manager. It's always hard for me sometimes to look out into the stands and to see all my friends really cheering really loudly for our team and for even for the managers. And like Jake mentioned earlier, if you guys are thinking about becoming a manager, you can definitely reach out to me, and I can give you some more information on that. But in particular, managing is one of the biggest time commitments here at Duke. So in addition to being a student here, we also are working 40 to 50 hours a week. Really unpredictable hours, so it forces us to make sure we stay on top of our academics, as well as make sure that we can fully commit. So each day we have practice, and all managers are required to be at practice, and we do everything from fill up cups, make the Gatorade, wipe up sweat, to rebounding and helping out in drills. I am not in any way anywhere close to a good basketball player, so I don't help out in any of our drills too much. But we are able. Basketball skills are not necessarily required for the job. But game day is a really tough day for us. We're here very early setting up for the game and making sure that everything is taken care of and that when it's game time happens, everything can go as smoothly as possible. So that's some of our responsibilities. For away games, it's really the same job, just in a different location. In addition to working with our team when we're away, getting ready for a game and making sure everything's set up there before our team gets there, managers are responsible for making sure that we have absolutely everything we need before we leave from Cameron to go to whatever venue we're playing at. So it's definitely a huge time commitment. Like I said, it's very unpredictable, especially during ACC and NCAA time. We're very busy constantly, and you can just never predict how long you're going to be on the road or when you're coming back. But it's definitely a rewarding experience that I would encourage all of you to at least look into at some point.
So, go ahead, Derek, sorry.
Also, just a reminder to everyone, feel free to ask us questions in the comment section on the Google Plus page, and we will answer those for you guys. There's actually one question from Tiana Horn, and it says, can girls be managers? Definitely. We don't discriminate against anyone who's interested in being a manager. We actually have one female manager who's one of the 3 co-head managers. So she's my boss. She's a junior, and we definitely welcome everyone who's interested to get involved. So yes, girls can be managers.
Do we want to answer the question from Sarah Musa, or should we get to that? Sure. This doesn't have to do with athletics, and that's fine. But does anyone know anyone from states who go to Duke who are from states far from North Carolina? And I will say yes, Duke has people from all 50 states, I'm pretty sure. And also like hundreds of international coming from like 4 countries. So you know, there are definitely like a lot of states that a lot of kids come from, but those are mostly places that just have a lot of people. So North Carolina, New York, and California send a lot of people. New Jersey, but there are definitely people from all states, all countries, and it's very diverse. And there's no real difference between any type of person from any part of the country or part of the world. Everyone's very much included in everything.
So actually, there's a guy across the hall from me who is from San Diego, California, and we're actually going to be roommates next year. And he found he was very worried about being so far from home, especially adjusting to Duke within the first few months. But he definitely has, the other day we were talking, and he said he forgot that, he was so far from home, just because when you're here at Duke, it really makes you feel like you're at home, because everyone here belongs to this strong sense of community, and everyone here looks out for each other. And so that's one of the things that made his transition a lot easier, is that you find people who are in the same boat as you. You find people who are even from, like Jake said, from other countries. So it kind of puts things into perspective for you as well. And like I said, I'm from Durham, so I traveled maybe 5 minutes to come to college. But for him, it was something that was sort of seamless transition. So.
And I would say that Duke really wants to, and it really is a global university, and is trying to do that even more. So the opportunities for international travel, and there are tons of them. There's Duke Engage, there's study abroad, there's all kinds of things that you can do to broaden your horizons, cliche-wise. But yeah, people are from all walks of life and all places, so there's it's just a very international and diverse place.
And if you guys have more questions about that, we'll have a live chat about kind of the residential life on East Campus on Monday, April 9th at 6:30. So we'll talk a lot about the first year experience and how to kind of acclimate to the new culture in college.
And do we want to talk about Duke UNC now?
That's always fun.
Okay. You want to start there?
Well, so for me, being from Durham, the UNC and Duke rivalry was always palpable for me in sort of every aspect of my life, especially throughout high school. Even beginning in elementary school, you had people who were saying that they're Duke fans and people saying that they're Carolina fans. So I think the Duke-UNC rivalry is something that is people around this area look forward to all the time, and everyone's constantly talking about the Duke-UNC game weeks and maybe even a month before the game actually happens. So I think it's something that is it's a great thing. I believe it's sort of it's a rivalry, but I think there's a great deal of respect between the two universities. We're 15 minutes apart, and outside of the sort of athletic rivalry, I think that's really the only sort of difference we have between the schools or issue we have is because even our academic program, Duke students take classes at UNC all the time, and UNC students take classes at Duke. So I think that there's an ironic rivalry there, but it's great, and it really sort of builds a community because everyone's rallying for their school, just like everyone at UNC is rallying for their school, and so it's just a really awesome thing for me, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm from North Carolina too, so I've grown up around. I'm from Asheville, and I've grown up around. I've been a lifelong Duke fan. So North Carolina is a very UNC partisan place, I would say. But now being a student here, it's very different in that both schools like grudgingly respect each other. I think Duke students are a little bit more reasonable about the rivalry than Carolina students, from my experience. but maybe that's just Carolina fans. I don't know. But it's definitely something that enriches your time here. You know, I have tons of friends at at UNC, since I'm from North Carolina especially. But it's another great place to go over there and spend time there. And UNC students come over here sometimes. But yeah, the rivalry in terms of basketball, it's the greatest rivalry in sports to me, American sports. And just the fact that two teams are so good, and in basketball especially, that are so close to each other, and they're so different in a lot of ways, public and private, you know, stuff like that. So it's definitely an enriching part of being a Duke student to know that the rivalry is so important to not just us, but to the world.
Yeah, and I think you also just think about the fact that students camp out for 6 to 8 weeks just to go to this game. And that we allow over 1,500 students each year, generally, to come to this game. And students are so close to the court. The students have, hands down, the best seats in Cameron for the biggest rivalry in sports. So I think that really speaks a lot to the university and how much we just love students and our basketball program as well.
Mm-hmm. So we had a question about the tennis team, several questions actually. I'll start with addressing Tessa Valek. I don't know if there's intramural tennis, but the club tennis team is really good. It's co-ed, and I have a friend who was the captain, and I'm pretty sure they've been national club tennis champions at least once since I've been here. So I know that's a really good team, really competitive and really serious. And yeah, Ellie, do you want to speak to the varsity tennis teams and whatnot?
Sure. The varsity tennis program at Duke, for women and men, they're both actually very good. They have a lot of student support as well. And students love to go cheer on the teams. The coach is very friendly and is always welcoming to students as well. I don't know if it's possible to walk on, but I would suggest emailing the coach if that's something that you're interested in doing.
Yeah, I think the women's team won the national title 2 years ago, so that's tough. I mean, it's like, you know, they're a very competitive team. So, but you know, even if being like on the varsity team isn't possible, there's definitely the great club team, and then, you know, lots of tennis happens here. So it's really, you know, solid infrastructure for tennis.
So the next question from Jocelyn is that, are there particular benefits to doing a sport at the intercollegiate level rather than just at the club level? So I would say it's just really about what you love. It's about how much time you're willing to invest into the sport. I don't think there are any sort of strong, obvious benefits to either one. It's really about how much time you want to put in, how much free time you have, and how competitive you want to be. So I think that those are also things that you have to take into consideration when you're deciding at the club level or at the varsity level. So.
Oh gosh, so we have a question about football. I think I would say that student support for football is actually increasing. It's still nowhere on the level as basketball. Duke football has struggled a lot recently in the last 20 years, really. But you know, we have a really great coach, David Cutcliffe, who's a great recruiter and is doing a really good job of getting good talent. And I think that every year we believe that we're going to be on the cusp of a really good season, and at least we're winning games now. But I think it's up and coming. You know, we're starting to get 4- and 5-star recruits now, which I'm kind of a recruiting geek for basketball, so I think that's pretty impressive. The football team is getting good things, and we have a lot of good players. It's just really about bringing the team together and getting a good team completely. Student support, it is going to increase, I think, but it really is about, you know, the team. as the team goes, the support goes. So when the team is winning and doing well, people get excited, but then they're disappointed when we lose. So I would say that overall it's moving in the good direction, and all of you coming in freshmen can be really good football fans, and I'm sure that'll help.
So for me in particular, I'm not a huge football fan, just in general, but I did still go to every game that we had that was home, every game except for maybe one game. So I think that our team, students still support our team no matter what, and that is a part of the spirit of the community here at Duke, is that we'll still go support our team just because we believe in helping out each other and being there to support each other in all endeavors. But yeah.
And another cool thing about Duke athletics in general is that because Duke is just over 6,000 students, you'll have classes with a lot of these athletes. So it's been cool because I've gotten to know a lot of football players through classes. Sean Renfrey was our quarterback this year, and he had a ton of great games, and it was cool to just see him in class the next day. So athletes are very much a part of the Duke student body. They're not separate like they are at a lot of bigger schools.
So we have a question about the women's track team, and I can actually speak a lot about this. My sister ran track and cross country here from 02 to 06, and she was really, the track team is, I'm not sure what the status is right now, but they've been very, very good recently. Shannon Rowberry was one of my sister's teammates, and she was in the Olympics in 08 and had the fastest time an American has ever had in the, I think it was the 1,500 meters or the 5,000 maybe. So I know that it's very, I'm sure they do offer scholarships, and there's definitely opportunities to, try out for the team and get involved with track here. But I know that the track team and the cross country for both men's and women's is very, very competitive, like most of our sports. So.
All right, so I think we all know that Duke has a great basketball program, but a lot of our other programs are very strong as well. Our women's golf team is phenomenal. It has actually won 5 national championships. Our women's tennis team, men's lacrosse team, and men's soccer team have also won championships. And then on the individual level, we have a lot of national champions, and we also have a bronze medalist in fencing. Becca Ward, who's a senior at Duke, won a bronze medal just before her freshman year. So our fencing program has improved a lot since she's been here, and that program is on the rise as well. They actually have fencing meets in Card Gym, which is right next to Cameron, and that's actually a really cool setup. So I encourage all of you to go to fencing meets during your time in college, because you could be able to see an Olympian practice as well and compete. And she really is incredible and very humble about all of it.
So we've had questions about the intramural programs and what the practices are like. Just to some definitions, intramurals usually means just groups of friends playing sports together. But we have, I think what the question was about was really club sports. So club sports are really the more competitive, team-based, where you travel around and you play events, you play tournaments and whatnot. And I know that I definitely think it varies for the sport, but most club sports have a serious training schedule, practices and whatnot, and take it pretty seriously. So it's definitely something, it's definitely a commitment, but it's very rewarding as well.
And one thing about IM basketball, a quick funny story. So a lot of my friends are participate in IM sports, and actually a couple of managers most of the managers formed a sort of intramural basketball team, and one of the managers is interested in being a coach. So he decided that he wanted to take his IM team to the next level and coach that team. And so just a few weeks ago, there was the championship game between the freshman intramural teams. And it was so great because he was coaching that team, and they had worked hard to win this championship game, and the other team had worked just as hard as they did. And it turned into this huge event where most of the freshman class came out. The championship game was at Cameron, and most of the freshman class came out and just cheered for both teams. Even a lot of the guys from the men's basketball team came out to see the IM basketball game, which is a really cool thing. I think it also highlights how even a lot of the varsity athletes still care about IM sports and other teams. So it was just a really great experience to see so many people come out and support an intramural team just as they would for any other sport or any other club or varsity level sport.
And just going off, I was thinking of what Derek was saying about how the athletes support like the intramural teams. I was thinking of a video from Duke Blue Planet, and I just want to talk a little bit about Duke Blue Planet. It's started by a Duke grad who now is like really big up in the basketball office department and whatnot. And it's something that you all should look out for. It's like the best team website for a basketball team, definitely a college team that I know of. So it's a really good way to engage with the basketball program, and they all do a really good job and make awesome videos. So yeah, Dave Bradley, great guy. So I'll link that to this comment thread on Google Plus so you guys can check that out.
All right, so I will take the next question from Joshua about the Cameron Crazies. And I would just like to say that as the headline monitor this year, I've kind of seen the progression of the Cameron Crazies. And all of those stories are basically false and not true at all. I think the Crazies were incredible this year. You can look back at a lot of our games this season and see just kind of like a direct correlation between like how loud we were and how many times the other team missed free throws. And Coach K has even said it himself. Like, the Crazies are a crucial part of the basketball team, and I think Derek can speak to this as well. But we really are the sixth man, and we really impact the team a lot. And it's incredible. I mean, we are still the Cameron Crazies. We have different students who come in each year, and different freshmen kind of form their own identity in Cameron, but the fans are really incredible, and in my opinion, the best in the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
So yeah, just like Ellie said, I know the Cameron Crazies this year were absolutely incredible and really helped our team do some incredible things and push out some wins. So I know that a lot of the guys on the team and even Coach K really appreciate the Cameron Crazies, and they take care of them.
There we go. All right, welcome back, Derek.
Like, sorry about that, guys.
All right, so do we have any more questions?
I would say if you have any questions after this, just put them in the comment section. Somebody will get back to you, and be sure to connect with the admissions on Twitter and Facebook as well. If you have questions about athletics or anything else.
And if you guys want to learn any more about Duke basketball, we mentioned Duke Blue Planet before. There's also a really cool website called Crazy Talk that has a blog and lots of really up-to-date information on the recruits that we're trying to get to come to Duke. So be sure to check out that blog. It's really cool and has a lot of great writing and has gotten a lot of publicity in the meeting as well. Okay, so thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on Google Plus tonight. If you have any more questions, just post them on Facebook or on this, and we'll try to answer them when we can. And be sure to chime in for all the other Google Hangouts that we'll have in the next few weeks about different parts of Duke life.